pretty much every page, you're going to use the good old vintage photo. And you might want to get on YouTube and watch Tim Holtz do his vintage photo, or his Distress Inks demonstration, because when he does it, it's just gorgeous. It's real soft, and he just subtly brushes it in, so it's, you know, mine's not as tidy. Mine will make marks. And he also lays his flat on the table. I have not been able to master that technique. I have to hold mine up in the air. But you can see what it does. It just makes it old, instantly vintage. And so I do the edges. I like to do the corners extra. And a lot of times I'll do my pages initially, and then I will go back when the thing's done and do it again. Now see, that's the kind of thing that happens to me on a regular basis, just so you know. And that's all right. And I know this page is soft blue. It looks kind of heavenly. And so you might have not, it's your choice. Maybe you didn't want to do Distress Ink on this particular page, but I went ahead because that's just what I do. And did that. Now, the other thing is, it's pretty a lot of times if you have the right color to do a color. I don't really have, I have a Mermaid Lagoon, which is a pretty intense turquoise color. I'm going to go ahead just for the sake of this demonstration and just hit it with a little bit of that. The other thing is you want to test it a little bit, because some of them are super inked, like juicy, and some of them are really dry. And so you need to find that out before you touch your paper. I would think it'd be a good idea. Now what I'm seeing is that this is not the same blue. This is a turquoisey blue, and it's not really doing that much for this particular page. So I'm gonna stop and just be happy with my vintage photo on that page. And so a lot of these pages are already distressed somewhat for you. I did that digitally, but it's still a good idea to go back with the vintage photo and hit it again. It just kind of, I don't know, it's more lively. It's less uniform, so it looks real. And you'll see a white edge. Can you see that white edge right there? Like I talked about on the other video when we cut paper. This just gets rid of it. So you want to touch all your edges with it. And I'll probably go back over this later. But you can see. And then I always like to hit the middle. It may or may not show once it's tied into the signature, but I like the way it looks. And then, you know, we haven't done the backs yet. So, I mean, technically you could do the backs first and then do the inking of the edges if you wanted to do that. And I'm going to show you how to do that with the stenciling here in just a second. And you'll see what I was talking about. See these crumbs that come off of the makeup brush? So that's, or the makeup sponge, that's kind of the trade-off of using a cheap a cheap item. Let me shake this off in the trash. So that's inking the edges. Ooh, that didn't work. Okay, hang on. Okay, so I'm going to move on to stenciling. So we'll flip our pages over, and you've got these 12 pages at least of your journal that you need to do something with. And so one of the things you can do, I don't know why I just shut that. One of the things you can do is stenciling. So you take these stencils and you lay them on there, and I like to keep in the palette of the journal. And so I know that the palette for this journal has got greens, and I happen to know that the 3 greens I mentioned will go. They're very natural looking greens, and they go together. So I know these will be used. I also know I have gold and I have blue. And so I'm going to pull out the chipped sapphire. I use that a lot. That's because my kits have a lot of blue in them. So the chipped sapphire I use a lot. And then we will maybe use some of the other ones. I use tattered rose a lot because I usually have a pink in there somewhere. But for what we're doing right now, I'm going to lay the stencil on, and I think I will use the shabby shutters. The other trick for me, at least, is keeping the 2 apart when I have 2 thick colors going. It seems like I always manage to get the color switched and use the wrong dauber, but that's okay. You can take it down and wash it with dish soap. Okay, so you lay your stencil on, and I'm just gonna try to not go over the edges, but do just here and there with this color. Keep it from moving. You want to keep it in the same place, and just kind of hit it. If you move it, just put it back where it belongs and hold it again. And just kind of hit it here and there with that color, and then go back with an alternate color and kind of hit the other spots. And these 2 go together really well because one is like a yellowish green, and then this other one is a bluish green. So it's just a nice color combination. Probably my favorite. Okay. So then you take this off, and that's what you get. Pretty, huh? Okay, so that is stenciling. And then I'll show you another thing you can do, which is layering 2 different ones. So I'm going to use this one by itself. I'm not going to try and do 2 colors on this. I'll just go over the whole thing. And I don't want it solid, I just want it to be hit and miss. That way it blends a little bit nicer when I move it. Checkerboard pattern. And so what's cool is to go over it with something round or what am I trying to say, like flowers, just something different. So something kind of crazy like those flowers. Let's try that. I'll show you. Organic is what I was trying to say. So you get linear and an organic shape together. Kind of looks good. And organic just means something like an organism, like a living thing, like a flower or a vine. You know, something that's not geometric, that's super straight, that's man-made, is organic. So okay. Now, I hope this doesn't freak you out. I've got quite a few stamps here And you don't need this many, but you may have more. Some people have a lot more than I do. I like fonts, and that way you can make words. So those are cool. So I have a lot of those, so you can write words and stamp words. This one I haven't used yet. And then these are silicone. So the way these work, you get acrylic blocks, at least one. I have the set that came with 3 different sizes. And you, like if you want to say love, the word love, so you would get your L and you do it backwards, just like setting type. So L, O, V, and so you see I'm spelling it backwards, E. And so, whoops, now see, make sure it's the right side, make sure it's the right way, backwards and up, right side up. So these stick to this acrylic, and then you take ink, like an ink pad, or you can use your distress inks, and you just ink it up. Oop, oh gosh, okay, don't do it that way. See if that'll stick now, maybe not, we'll see. And just press it down. And then I just throw it in the water really fast when I'm done. Throw these little letters in my water. And your baby wipes are really handy for wiping off your acrylic pads, cleaning those up, cleaning your fingers up. And sometimes you'll have a word like pop, where you've got the same letter in the same word, so you can't do the whole word. So you'll have to stamp the P-O, pull off the O, and then stamp the P and space it where you want it. So it's a little trickier with those kind of words, but I'm sure you'll figure it out. And so there are a lot of shapes. These are stamps I got from Illustrated Faith Kits. And so they've got a lot of, it's Christian material. So like, here's a stamp that says worthy. And it shows you what it looks like stamped. And then after you wash them off, you just stick them back between the plastic, and it's easier to keep things that way. There's like a whole bunch of different loves. And you can get just all sorts of these silicone stamps. Back in the day, you probably have seen the ones where it's a wood, it's on a piece of wood and rubber, kind of like these, only they're on wood. But this is kind of the latest, greatest way to do it. And hope this is in frame. You want to use, see, this is not the way to do it. I'm using my big block, and what can happen is you can touch the edge of that with ink, and then when it goes, it'll go down and touch the paper and make a line. So you want to try to use a block that's close to the size of the words or the stamp that you're doing. But that's how that works. And these bigger stamps, these rubber stamps that don't have any wood attached to them, and put this in the water. So you just mash that onto your ink pad and then lay it where you want, print it like that. And then wash it with water. So that's the stamping situation. And like I said, you can use the distress inks. Let's see. What have I got? So here's, okay, so that's too big for that. So it's going to have to go on the big one. So I'm going to put it in the middle so I can balance it out. And so just ink it up like that. Pretty nice, huh? Now that wasn't planned out. It's nice if you plan things out, but hey, a lot of times that's a nice finishing touch after you've done what you're doing and you want to go back in and add some emphasis. Let's say that you've painted a background like we just stamped. Let's say you go in here and do this, and maybe you've put a pocket on and so on and so forth, and you've done all your stuff, and then right at the end you think, I just need a word to punch this. So maybe you take one of the fonts and do heaven in the corner, or love, or Jesus, or whatever word you want, just to add that last little punch of emphasis on something. I think I covered, oh, wait, one more thing. These are nice. I got these at Hobby Lobby, again, with a set of letters. They're really inexpensive over in the stamp department. And these are the kind with the wood and the rubber. Let me pull one out here. And I do like to write a quote with these. It takes a long time, but it's fun. You're in the mood. So you'll get that little mark on the side a lot. I like that. I think it adds to it. It just kind of looks vintage, like an old vintage print. So that doesn't bother me. But anyway, that's a fun thing to do. And there's different fonts. Here's the uppercase and the lowercase. So think about that. And that's it. For real, that's it. Talk to you on the next one.